Okay, this is Strathaven Pipe Band, and it's by Peter Halliday, who most of you will know. Nice wee tune that he wrote for the band. It's in common time, which means there are 4 beats to the bar. And I think the best way to do it is just to go through it in phrases to begin with. So what I want you to pay attention to are the grace notes, and like here where there's a dotted and a cut note, to make sure that those dots and cuts are in to give it a nice time to it. And just make sure that you play it at a speed that allows you to get the grace notes in. When we come to it on a Monday night, we'll just be checking to make sure that everybody's got them the way they should be. Okay, so starting, the phrasing of it runs kind of from the first F down to this low A here, and then the second kind of main phrase runs along to the end of the line and stops just here. Okay, so first of all, the first phrase just a couple of times. Now you can play it at that speed, or you can play it slower even than that. The main thing is you play it in time. So if you can beat your feet while you're doing it, then that'll keep you in time. The second phrase, starting on this throw on the D here, and again a little bit slower. Excuse me, and make sure you hold these notes here for their true length. So playing that whole line sounds like this. Excuse me. Taking us on then to the introductory notes here, which will take us into the second line. And again, just those phrases. Now you get that bit for nothing because it's the same as the line above. And then a slightly different ending to the part. So it's important that the bits that are written evenly, with no dots or cuts, are played evenly, and the bits that have a dot and a cut, that you get that emphasis to it. So once again, the whole thing, the whole part, if I can keep my breath that long. Better play that last phrase again from the throw and the D in the middle. And just make sure this note here is a C and not a B. Sometimes people play a B there by mistake. So moving on now to just notice this double dot here and the double line at the end, so that means that that part is repeated. And when we get on to the next line, you'll see we have the whole line to here, and then a 1 and further down there's a 2 here. And what that means really is that there's 2 versions of the second part. So this is called the first time through, and this is called the second time through. So to try and make that clear, when you're playing the tune, you'll play the first part just as it is twice over. Then you'll play this line here, and then you'll play the bit that says 1 along to here, and then this bit here at the end. And in the second time through, you'll play the line right along to this point, and then straight to the 2 here and along to the end again. Okay, we'll take this part a phrase at a time. So again, I'm going to go along to this low A in each case, and then the next phrase, and the same in the second time through, but it splits about here where that F is, as far as I remember. So, starting again at the start of the part. And again, if you need to slow it down, just slow it down. Then on to the next phrase. And repeating that. Okay, so that's those first 2 phrases, and we're now going to the number 1 for the first time through. So this is effectively the second line of that part, without the squeak. Try it again. And then just finishing off from the throw in the D, and then down onto the last line midway through. Just play that again. Okay, so that's the first time through the second part. The second time through is exactly the same up until this note here, the E, at which point we go to this part of the music here and play the rest of that line. So that would go roughly like. Okay, so that's just the same 2 parts, 2 phrases that we did before. So that now on to the last line where the 2 is. So that takes us to the throw in the D there. I'll play that again. And then just finishing off with the last phrase. I'll play that again. And that's Strathaven Pipe Band. A few things just to watch around the grace notes, just make sure you get them all in correctly. It's very difficult when you're recording it not to make mistakes, so try and ignore the few squeaks and groans that I made during that. And just to finish this off now, I think what I'll do is I'll just play the tune through completely. But remember, you know, start off, although you should be able to watch this and just pause it at different bits and see where you're trying to get the things right, etc. But Don't be afraid to slow it right down to the very, very slowest pace, even if it's as slow as this. Or even slower if you like. The main thing is, don't play it badly, play it well, at a speed you can play it, and then gradually build up from that. So just to finish this off, we'll just listen to the whole tune. Okay, I hope that turns out alright. Just one little thing I didn't mention, I think, is although these introductory notes are scored out, you actually need to play them when you're repeating the part. So that's a low A and a D, just to introduce the second time through that part. So we'll hear how this experiment goes. You can let me know whether it's been helpful or not.